Hey, just wanted to show you guys a quick mod I did to this DD-5 real quick. I was messing around with it and I figured I might as well before I give it back to its owner. So you can probably see already things that aren't normal, which would be the tap tempo switch that I've mounted in the top of the switch plate here. So with the switch plate, as usual, you can turn it off and on. Then with the tap tempo switch, you can set your tempo there without turning the pedal off and on. The other one is a toggle switch on the left side. That adds a capacitor that essentially warms up the repeats only. So you get a sort of faux analog sound. For me, I really like that because oftentimes the sound of a digital delay repeat is so bright that it kind of gets in the way of the sound of the playing, and I'll give you an example of that here. Mind you, I am not a professional guitarist, so don't expect much. I'm going to use my SD-2 Dual Overdrive here to show you how it behaves, particularly that warmer repeats behaves with some heavier gain, because I think that's where it really makes a difference. And quick note, since I'm using that one, I've also modded the SD2 so that I can get it into what they call the secret yellow mode without any additional hardware or foot switches, which basically it's just kind of hacking the pedal to be in parallel between the crunch and the lead channels. So in this case, I can go over and have the green channel, which is the crunch, or in the middle, you've got the lead. A lot more saturation and distortion. And then on the far right of my selector switch here, instead of what it normally does with the remote switch, it just sets it into yellow mode, which, like I said, is the parallel of the two signals. I'm not saying it's, the greatest thing ever, but it is pretty cool just because it gets a kind of a interesting texture between the two, not quite as saturated as the lead by itself, not quite as subdued as the crunch by itself. So we're going to use that for our demonstration of gain. On the DD-5, I'm going to go ahead and show you the stock sound. And where you'll really hear the difference that I'm talking about, it shows up more in higher pitched notes because you can really hear the brightness of the repeat. The repeat essentially sounds exactly like the dry note. Like so. And if we take it into the warm repeats, so hopefully you can hear that in this recording, that it's a little warmer. I'll go back and forth real quick a couple times. And then we'll do the tap tempo with our foot, just so you know that it works that way. So I just did it really quick, and you get that fast slap back, almost doubler effect. That's more slap back. If you do it really fast, you can get double tracking sound. versus I'm holding the guitar to my side here, so not exactly the easiest. Now let's add some gain. Back into the stock mode. I really like the sound of the DD-5 with the warmer repeats in that way. So to me, it's a nice option to have. Of course, putting it on a switch lets you go back to stock anytime you want that more the clarity of the stock digital delay. So, and the tap tempo is just a convenience. You don't have to run it out to a separate switch box. Saves you some space. Anyhow, there you go.